Welcome back everybody to another PSGL video. Today we're racing at Belgium, and this was probably one of the best races I've had in the recent months. No lap was uneventful, and we had some crazy battles throughout the race. Changing conditions in quali plus a bold strategy in the race are guaranteed to keep you at the edge of your seat. You're gonna want to watch this till the very end. Trust me.
Into the short qualifying session we go. Since we're in Belgium, wet weather was bound to strike, and today's qualifying is no different. But rapidly, the situation was changing. The track was getting more and more dry by the minute, and by the time we go out for our second run of the day, the track was almost bone dry already. It was still a little greasy. This is what we didn't know at first, but by the end of the session, the track is going to be completely dry. This means it doesn't matter what time you set, whether you were the fastest in the interconditions. All that matters is the last lap shootout. One chance, one opportunity from everybody to set the fastest lap possible in order to get the best starting position possible on the grid. And we wait until the last possible second to go out in order to get the hottest track, the warmest track, the grippiest track to stack the odds in our favor. But here's the thing, there's going to be 20 cars bunched together on track, and the last thing we want is to get caught up behind traffic, just like all those F1 drivers did several years ago at Monza, where they all tried to stay behind each other, trying to catch each other's slipstream, but in the end, nobody managed to set an actual valid lap. And honestly, I might be right. It was actually a good call to go out a little earlier, because as we're about to start our final lap of the session here, look at the train that's behind us going into the bus stop. Those cars are way too close to each other, and they're going to be giving each other a shit ton of dirty air. Into turn 1, the exit is going to be crucial because it's going to affect our top speed. We're going to carry that all the way down the Camel Straight. Let's try to find the line of least resistance through Eau Rouge and Bradion. And now open DRS as fast as possible. Slowly drift the car to the left, and we're coming up towards Sector 2 now, where it's also critical to nail this first section. Run over the inside curb to open up the corner, but stay on the left to set up the exit for the next upcoming right. Beautiful. A little wiggle on the exit, but still, we managed to hook it up. Now, the downhill right, tricky braking zone. Keep it tight, V-shaped braking zone, and then stay to the right, a big flick, and get on the power. A little hesitation, but still, we make good progress here. Drain to about 60% battery, and then for Pouon, easy flat. Careful not to invalidate on exit, stay tight to the left for the least amount of distance, and into the fast speed. Look for the white line on the ground, stay to the right to open up this left and get back on the power as soon as possible. Now, very important to set up the good exit here. A little hesitation on the throttle, but still, we hook it up nicely, and now it's all about finding the shortest line up to the bus stop. And I'm gonna show you something here that you might not know. Through Blanchimont, you don't have to go wide to open up this corner. You can stay to the middle to actually minimize driving distance. Same thing into the bus stop, beeline towards 100-meter board, braking straight and then flick the car in. Might have been a little bit too much curb usage on entry. Doesn't matter, it was a good exit out of bus stop. Drain everything, leave nothing on the line, and it's going to be 1 minute 40.804. For now, it's P4, but looking at all the guys behind that have caught each other's dirty air, I don't think a lot of people are going to improve on their time, or they're going to be much slower than what we did. And could this be P6 in qualifying? A good lap and a stroke of luck managed to secure us P6 on the grid.
My worry was that I was going to invalidate that lap, so it was important to not invalidate.
The hardest part was to put the lap together without invalidating, and with that, we have a good shot at the race win here today. As for the race, starting from P6, you can see that almost everybody has put on the medium compound tires. And lights off, and away we go into turn 1. It's very tempting to just send it down the inside here, but you have to be a little careful, because the last thing you want in this 22-lap race is to lose your front wing before the race has even started. We make it past turn 1 unscathed, and at this point, we already start playing with our battery, because battery management around Belgium is so crucial. You need to always have a good amount left in your tank if you want to defend from the car behind, but also have enough so that you can go for a move should the opportunity arise. Into Sector 2, they're going really close to each other, and again, it is tempting here to just send it, but for what? You might maybe gain a position at the risk of losing your front wing, and then somebody could still decide to undercut, and you lose that position you gain anyway. During the first stint, it's pretty much always better to just sit back and relax a little and just let things play out, following their natural alphabetical order. And this is where I realized something super important. I have to start tire saving right away to give me the option to go for the undercut should the need arise. Because pushing hard, like I talked about in one of my previous videos, is not necessarily going to gain you the position. In the dirty air, when you get close within 3 or 4 tenths of the car in front, you can just get so much downforce loss that it's almost impossible to keep close with another car. And right away, I start taking a chill here, though the kick behind is being very, very aggressive with their tires and battery usage. But if I can somehow just keep him behind and maintain P6 while also nursing my tires home, we will be in a very good position. And out of turn 1, I'm constantly looking back to see how close the kick is to me. And I have to use a lot of battery here to defend, and this is not an easy task because the guys in front are pushing quite hard, and the kick behind is also pushing quite hard. I've got to step between a rock and a hard place, but as long as I'm within that 1 second window, I will be fine. And I think we managed that pretty well. Though we're running a little low on battery since we had to use so much in the final sector, but also on the main straight, the Camel straight, we are managing this race pretty well so far. And Will Gibson behind has also realized that it is pretty futile to try to go for a move, or to force a move rather, because with the dirty air and the low downforce setup that we're running at the time, it's just impossible to make a move. Luckily for us, we've been saving our tires this entire time, and our tires are still looking quite good. And I wouldn't be surprised if quite a few people would start to struggle on their mediums very soon. Just a few laps later, it looks like Kai the other Kai's Mercedes, has been wiggling quite hard on several corner exits.
Says Kai about Kai.
Exactly, Kai. Thank you. And right there, on the exit of No Name, he just had another big moment. Same thing for the Red Bull. Through Huan, a little wiggle, and somehow I avoid invalidation very narrowly. And I wouldn't even be surprised if people started boxing as early as this lap to go for the craziest undercut. But soon, my question was answered, and Will Gibson was the first to dive into the pits for a fresh set of hards. Now, I didn't know at the time whether he just had too much tire wear from pushing too hard on the opening stint, or he just wanted to go for the undercut to really get track position. Nevertheless, we push on. But at this point, my tires were still looking really, really good. And I kind of felt like with the low downforce package we were running, we could probably try something crazy, like a fat overcut. And it seems like Will's pit lap has triggered a bunch of people to dive into the pits. They're so scared of the undercut that they're gonna dive in right away. However, this does open up a huge gap between us and P1 and 2. 2.2 seconds is the gap, and I have some work to do to close out this gap. What you'll see next, this next upcoming lap, is probably one of the best in laps I've done in a while. And it will also show you just how much we've been holding back on this first stint. P1 and 2 even briefly go side by side into Lake Home. This is where we go crazy. No restraint, no tire wear limits, just go all out. Just like in quali, set up the exit here. I'm gonna keep using our battery even in the middle sector where you usually want to be none to save. Flaking the car because we don't care about tire wear right now. We just want to be as fast as possible because we're gonna be boxing at the end of this lap anyways. And after just 3 or 4 corners, we're already down to 1.6 seconds. Another flick into Puan. And yes, unfortunately, I have to inform you that the flick still works sometimes. And getting to the end of sector 2 now, we are actually 1.2 seconds away from the lead cars, going a little deep into the chicane, but still, we maintain good speed on the exit here. Again, on the limit, the rear wants to step out on corner exit. I'm gonna keep burning our battery here. Not sure if it's a good choice or not, because we will be coming out in traffic nevertheless. However, I just want to make up as much race time as possible. Almost well within that 1 second window now, coming into the bus stop chicane, and this is where we want to dive into the pits, put on a fresh set of hards to go to the end. Now it's time for the truth. Where are we going to come out? There goes Will Gibson. He already a couple of seconds up the road, and we have come out in P11. That is absolutely bonkers. I think that's Tom 97 still on track, but right now we're in the net P10. We got undercut by 4 people. The Merc behind was flashing. I think he used a little bit too much battery on his outlap, and that is going to be a free move for us into the second sector. At this point, I thought I was in a net P9, but actually I was in a net P8 because one of the drivers actually started on the hards, and he is not having fun right now. He's getting overtaken by absolutely everybody, and I mean everybody. The whole grid. And actually, I think he was just having connection issues because as we drive closer to him, his car is actually disconnected. It doesn't take long for him to fall out of the session as well, but this did create a big gap between me and the train, and that was a pretty scary moment. Luckily, the flick is here to help us get back in, and this is where I need to start to manage, because right now we are actually in the prime position to win this race. We're probably one of the cars with the better tires on track, And with the tire management we're gonna do for the remainder of the stint, we will be extremely fast relative to the other cars around us, especially Will Gibson, who's boxed 2-3 laps earlier than us. And this is where another problem is gonna arise. The McLaren, Takubi, whatever his name may be, he is a real terrorist on track. Remember, this is the guy who took us out in Austria. We got history right here. And he is on the back of my teammate, my real life teammate from Tatum. And he is on 1 lap fresher hards. And he's being super aggressive on his tires and his batteries. My teammate knows that, and he's not gonna let him go so easily because he is on the undercut strategy. He started behind us in P9. And let me tell you, it was only a matter of time. This is going to be a recipe for disaster. And I'm just gonna chill here, keep nursing my tires, and enjoy the show. And just by doing that, I was able to secure the fastest lap of the race. Who would have thought? Let them drain their batteries and wait for the right opportunity to strike. And we won't have to wait long because they're gonna go side by side through the bus stop. And let me tell you, this is not very smart because they're gonna go side by side again through the next sequence of corners. But look at my battery. I'm almost full, and I'm just waiting for the right opportunity for one of them to make a mistake so I can make my way past. And all this fighting has caused both of them to be extremely low on batteries. And actually here, they're going to drop out of DRS from the lead train. This is the moment we've been waiting for. They're so close, almost coming together. And the McLaren moves to the right, boxing us in. We're gonna move to the right. He has to go defensive, but there's 2 Tatum cars. And I have to tell my teammate where I am because it's a 3-wide situation. Very scary. 1.1 tenths is the gap to the lead train, and now it's my job to get us back in there. But then the McLaren goes for a bold send and kills himself in the process. What in the hell was that? This is bad news for us because all this tire management and saving we've done has gone down the drain. I'm back to where I started, but I no longer have tire advantage compared to the guys ahead, especially Will Gibson. Now, the safety car came out on lap 13. I'm assuming the safety car is going to come in at the end of lap 14. That leaves us with 7 laps of racing. Had I had another set of hards, I probably would have put them on. But since I went with the medium allocation, I could only go on to the mediums. And somehow I managed to jump somebody in the pits. I think it was Ryan Jacobs who had to double stack with his teammate, and that dropped him down to P7. Now here's an interesting situation. We are on the mediums that are supposedly faster than the hards for a couple of laps, but then the hards will get the upper hand. The question now is, can we make use of these mediums before the hards get inevitably better? So it's crucial that we get a good restart here into turn 1, and it's a very late restart, and Will Gibson is going to stick it around the outside of Kai, who's on the mediums, and he is going to have superior traction on the exit. But we can only watch as they go side by side through Eau Rouge and Radian, and I turn off my overtake here, waiting for the right opportunity to turn it back on, and they push each other wide. Will gets a bad exit out of Radian, and I'm going to dive down the inside, which is going to turn into the outside for the next corner, and it's going to be a drag race down towards sector 2, a little bit of contact going into the braking zone, but I get pushed off the track and get an illegal overtake on Will, so I let him go here, but he gives us no room on the exit, and I get swarmed by the cars behind, and I get wing damage in the process, and that drops us down to P9 briefly. Back up to P8 we go, but it's not over yet. The Alpine gets pushed into the gravel, and we're gonna go down the inside. The mediums are going to allow us to do that. Superior traction, leaving some room on the outside, but Michael's still on the outside, but he tire hooks us. Whether that's intentional or not, that gives us another warning. That's 2 warnings already, but somehow we've managed to keep it on track, and we're still in P7, though we were briefly up into P3 at one point. And now the question is, what can we do with these bruised mediums and our damaged front wing? P1 and P2 have at this point driven off into the sunset, but there's 4 cars going 3 wide into sector 2, and I'm gonna just stay behind, not wanting to damage my front wing further, but I get hit from behind.
Learn to fucking drive, man.
And I was very not happy about that. And the Alpine who hit us in the back actually pays a heavy price for that, losing the position in the process to the Merc. But this fighting is going to allow us to regenerate some crucial ERS back. And Will, at this point, has front wing damage, and he is also running very low on battery from all the fighting, on the cusp of losing DRS to the train ahead. And I don't want to do that, because if I do, I am going to be defenseless from the cars behind, and I have to move up into P6 here, going for a very daring move into the bus stop, and we make the move stick. However, the gap is 1.1 second to P5 ahead, and I have to push my heart out here to try to get back within that 1 second window. And Will Gibson retires on track, having damage and cold old hards. He wasn't going to be in the contention for points anyways, so he decided to retire. And somehow, against all odds, we've managed to hold on and stay in the DRS window. But there's still 4.5 laps of racing, and with our damaged wing, we are very exposed to the cars behind. But luckily, Dirty Air is doing its job. It's keeping me safe in the middle sector, but I also need to use some overtake to keep up with the cars ahead. So this does not leave me a lot of options. I'm basically starved of battery every single lap, having to use it to attack and to defend at the same time. Always on the cusp of losing DRS. But if I just stay within that 1 second window, I can hold on to P6 and salvage this already damaged race. Every single lap that I can keep P7 behind is another lap that I can survive and hold on to my position. But at this point, the mediums have all but fallen off compared to the hards, and I suspect the Alpine is putting the Merc under a lot of pressure. And this is going to allow me to focus entirely on the task ahead, to stay within that 1 second window. Again, nearly falling out of DRS, but somehow we stay in there. But at this point, P5 is also struggling and he's falling out of DRS. But this is going to make our job a lot easier to stay within that 1 second window. We can use them as a cushion to defend from the guys behind. But through the middle sector, the understeer is brutal in these high-speed corners. The car just refuses to turn. The front wheels refuse to bite into the asphalt. And I remember from being in that moment, it was so hot in that room. I was sweating my absolute ass off. And because of the understeer plus the dirty air, I just can't get close enough. The car just refuses to turn. And on the last lap, can we stay inside the DRS? We do, but now we're outside of the 1 second window. Can we stay within that 1 second window for this final time on this final straight? The gap is 8/10 on corner exit. We're gonna use a lot of our battery here to stay within that 1 second window because that detection point is further up the road. And somehow, against all odds, we've managed to stay within that 1 second window, but we're not close enough to make a move. But I'm gonna use the opportunity to regenerate a little bit. Maybe use this chicane to slow down the cars behind, get as much battery in my tank as possible, and then burn it all into the bus stop chicane. Try to set up a good exit here, but the tires just refuse to cooperate at this point. And the gap is only 3/10 to the car behind. He's gonna get a healthy dose of slipstream, and we're gonna have to burn absolutely everything here into the bus stop. But it seems that we have prevailed against all odds. We've managed to hold on to P6 despite everything that's happened in this last stint. And up towards the line, it is going to be P6 on track. I cannot say that I was not a little disappointed by the results, because I definitely think a podium was on the table there.
Oh, man. I was ahead too, and then he just sends it. Still, we have shown good pace. We've managed to make the right critical decisions, and we fought tooth and nail to the very end to hold on to our position. But I kind of wonder what would have happened had I chosen to go down the inside of Will Gibson down the Camel Straight. But those are all what-ifs, and we have to keep looking ahead if we want to move forward. With that finishing result, we managed to move up a few places in the driver's standings. And I can't wait to show you what I have in store for you when we come back from the break week in PSGL. If you've always wondered what kind of thought process or decisions I make in the middle of the race, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one today. This is Formula Kai signing off, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.